Welcome back to Mideast in Depth. Today we shall be looking at responses in the media to a possible nuclear deal between America and Iran that would allow Iran to freeze its disputed enrichment activities for a decade, but then allow it to resume. David Ignatius writes in Lebanon's Daily Star that the public rift between President Barack Obama and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over the Iranian nuclear issue is often described as a personality dispute. However, he comments, a senior Israeli official argued that the break has been building for more than 2 years and reflects a deep disagreement about how best to limit the threat of a rising Iran. He explains Yuval Steinitz, Israel's Minister of Intelligence, who helps oversee Iran strategy for Netanyahu, said he understands that the United States wants to tie Iran's hands for a decade until a new generation takes power there. Ignatius adds Netanyahu's skepticism reached a tipping point last month when he concluded that the U.S. had offered so many concessions to Iran that any deal reached would be bad for Israel. He continues, according to Israeli press reports, the U.S. has offered to allow Iran to operate at least 6,500 centrifuges. He adds that Steinitz gave an emphatic warning: Iran is part of the problem and not part of the solution, unless you think Iran dominating the Middle East is the solution. Ignatius concludes by saying, people who think that a nuclear deal with Iran is desirable, as do I, need to be able to answer Steinitz's critique. Jonathan S. Tobin states in Commentary magazine that one variation of the nuclear deal being discussed between Iran and the U.S. would place at least a 10-year regime of strict controls on Iran's uranium enrichment program, whilst allowing the Iranian 6,500 centrifuges as a potential point of compromise. Tobin states, while in theory this could mean that Iran would be prevented from building a bomb during the next decade, it more or less puts in place a Western acquiescence to future plans for a bomb. He adds, the Iranians clearly think they can keep negotiating indefinitely until the U.S. eventually agrees to a deal that would give Iran everything it wants, seriously endangering the security of the West, but also that of Israel and moderate Arab nations. He continues, while the administration is intent on using the nuclear talks as a wedge by which it can create a new détente with Iran that will ensure cooperation on a host of issues, such as the fight against ISIS, in practice what it is doing is acquiescing to Tehran's push for regional hegemony. He concludes by saying, though the administration thinks this leak will bolster its position, members of Congress should regard it as an even greater incentive for them to pass more sanctions on Iran that will attempt to restrain the desire of this president to accept any deal, even a disastrous one, rather than ever admit that his outreach to a tyrannical, anti-Semitic, terror-sponsoring Iranian regime has failed. For more updates, please visit levant.tv. And subscribe to Mideast in Depth on iTunes. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.